Starting. Good
Wow.
morning. Hi, I'm Malcolm Nance. And if you're seeing just me and Waja, the gay lion, then you have come to the correct place. This is Black Man Spy, U.S. Iran Super Duper Deal Cast. Uh, day, day 25 of the second phase of this campaign. Actually, it's the third phase if we include last year's airstrikes against, Operation Midnight Hammer, which is the most gay porn sounding combat name we've had ever since Epic Fury. So this would be the 25th day of Epic Fury 2.0's spectacular penetrations and the 160th day since this war started. We have been transmitting this show for 160 days. We should have, when we reach 200, we should have like a live subscribers only disco party on Zoom or something where we can get everybody up and we can all like put on dance music and have a dance party, right? The 200-day dance party. Wow, we have really been at this thing for a while. So, thank you for coming to this day's episode. Jacob Carswell clearly has either one, that family life, which, what's that like? Right? Waji and I don't get any family days off. I get in-flight days off, and I still got to transmit from 33,000 feet. It says invite Jacob again. Wait a minute. Maybe he hit something wrong. Fuck. I almost invited
It is
Dexter.
here. It is here.
He's here. All right, let's go. Okay, so he doesn't have a family day. That's fine, but we should still have a disco party at day 200. Here he is, Jacob
Family
Carswell.
day. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
what
a
are you
day.
talking about?
Who gets to go to family events more than you? I see that. Trump has negotiated another deal. Okay, well, we are on day 25/160. Jacob, you may have missed it. At day 200, we're going to have a live disco dance party. I think we're going to do it on Zoom so everyone can come up on camera, and then everyone is simultaneously going to play, I don't know. We'll have to figure out what the 200-day. That will be in September, so we'll have to play like Earth, Wind, and Fire September or something, or something Michael Jackson. I don't know. ABBA. We'll have to play ABBA. You know what we'll play? We'll play Waterloo. Because Trump has clearly met his Waterloo. Everybody's going, do it, do it. Okay, we'll do it. Trust me, day 200 will be disco dance party, 200 days at war. Because I'm sorry to tell you, it's pretty clear we're going to be here at day 200. We may be here at day 365. We should start making plans for next February's party. I love ABBA, by the way. One of the great events of my life was going to the ABBA Museum in Stockholm down near the port. And they have my beloved late wife and I went, and they have one of the most enduring memories I have of her is they have a stage you can get on, and they will laser project all the other members of ABBA around you. And then they play the music, it blasts the room, and you have to sing with ABBA, right? And the music will sing to your tempo. It's crazy, but when you're off the stage, when you're on the stage, you're just standing there doing karaoke. When you're off the stage, everybody, all the tourists who are Japanese tourists who are walking by, you see whoever's on the stage singing Dancing Queen or whatever it is on the stage with ABBA, and you can almost not tell if they're not, they're this 3D it's holograms. That's what it is, the hologramic dancing stage. And what I love about the ABBA Museum is it makes you dance in every room you go to. right? They ambush you with ABBA songs. And then to get out, you got to go through a disco and you got to dance to get out. So I think it will be ABBA. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if there's any trademark issues or something like that. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Warcast. Jacob, how are you today? Show us your coffee
No,
mug.
I'm good. I'm good. I did a piece for a Danish media outlet about how we have just not been able to deal with the Russian ballistic missile threats throughout
In
these
Ukraine.
4.5 years. And we have not really ramped up our production lines of long range air defense missiles. And it's shambolic.
Shambolic. I'll say it is.
And it's
Well,
like, people imagine, well, it's just happening in Ukraine. But hey, it could happen in Copenhagen.
it could. And this is a sign that, a couple of thousand interceptors isn't going to cut it. Um, NATO itself is going to have to really tool up and do a huge, spectacular buffing up its armament for a full-scale war with a Russia that doesn't exist today, but which may exist in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Russia may break down at the nation states or something, and somebody gets all that technology. They have 5 or 6 years, and they build 200,000 Shaheeds and 100,000 ballistic missiles.
Yeah. But this is simple combat maths. If you look at what the Russians can produce in terms of ballistic missiles, and if you look at the U.S. and European production capacity of long range missiles, it's shambolic. I mean, if the Ukraine had everything that the U.S. and the Europeans could produce, they could shoot down approximately 1/3 of the Russian missiles.
Hey, somebody here is from Alaska, real quick, called Villamundi, and says, we have a fat bear at Katmai Falls, which is where Brooks Falls, right? Katmai Falls named Dancing Queen.
Why does the bear like dancing?
I got a dancing bear. They got a bear named Dancing Queen. Okay, yeah, that's Katmai National Park, right? That's up in Alaska. Let me tell you something. Um, I I do a lot of trekking, or I did until this fucking war started. I haven't been, and since last year, you guys remember I was in Canada on a lake. But I haven't done any really serious heavy mountaineering, trekking, certainly no mountaineering, barely cutting my sea kayak, and I've been dying to get up to Alaska. I want to climb in Denali, which is no longer called Denali National Park. It's called Fat Ass Mount McKinley. I got shot in the head as president in my first fucking 20 days, McKinley. That's what the name of that mountain is. Did he get shot? Was it McKinley that was shot, right? Or who died of pneumonia? I'm pretty sure it was McKinley that got killed by an anarchist. Anywho's, well, that's not, now that we've had this moment of levity, let's get to the news. Raja, oil, zit.
It actually went all the way up to $4 by the end of yesterday, making it
Went
to
up?
$4 yesterday, but today it dropped 50 cents. So we're at 76.73. So it was
What,
going up and down yesterday. It went
what happened
$4.
yesterday that pushed oil up? Was it Scott Bessent coming out and saying, oh, you know how I told you it'd be 24 hours on Monday? No, I said it will be 2 to 3 more days. That's what he said yesterday. You cannot believe these people whatsoever, right?
But then it dropped again, making it $76.59 for WTI. Brent crude is sitting at $81.74. Marban is sitting at $81.10. OPEC is sitting at $80.42.
Mm. Okay, well, it is nudging its way back up, but we'll have to see on the basis of what these people think. Just FYI, it was President William McKinley who was shot by an anarchist assassin in 1901. But back then, I actually did a study of this called "The Good Old Bad Days of Terrorism," and there were a lot of assassinations going on. The anarchy movement from the 1880s till the World War One, which started World War One, by the way. They were going around and assassinating all sorts of notable people back then. Heads of state, bombings left and right. Okay, that being said,
I'm wondering if the price shot up yesterday in regards to the two Houthi attacks on Saudi tankers yesterday.
well, they actually is the attacks took place days before. What happened yesterday is Najran oil refinery, the city of Najran was attacked by the Houthis
Uh,
yesterday, wounding 11 people. So I think that would have a bigger impact on oil. One ship was turned around yesterday in the Red Sea, and another was attacked the day
Najran,
before.
right there on the other side of the border.
Yep. So that being said, all right, let's get on to significant activities. Wad, you can look that up. Art of the deal,
It's
folks.
on here, right.
At this
And
point,
it left 11 Saudi civilian. It left 11 it left 11 civilians wounded.
so right now, the art of the Trump deal looks sort of like this chart. Whoops, let me see if I can get this straight. They called us begging for a deal. That's where we are right now, right? They're giving us everything we want.
But this is it right here.
They're scum. You can't negotiate with these people. And then we're going to bomb their power plants. We're back here right now. We're back there. They called and begged us for a deal. Okay, I saw statistics today that said Trump said Iran has agreed to a deal 75 times in this war. Actually, let me see if I can bring this up.
75.
I thought
75
the tracker
times.
said 40 times yesterday.
Wait, end of the war, or we have a deal, or they called us begging for a deal? Because there's different
Oh.
ones. There's different
40
ones.
times Trump said at 40 times Trump said the war is almost over.
Oh, I think he's said that many more times than 40. Hold on for a sec. I'll find it. But apparently we are back into Trump made a deal, or Trump is about to make a deal. But before we start that, I would like you, while I look up this chart, I would like you two to discuss Senator Ted Cruz's proposal yesterday while we're making a deal that he, albeit 8 months late, is calling for the Iranian people to be directly armed and for the U.S. to drop weapons into Iran and let them have an armed uprising.
Ted Cruz.
To which I say, as the spokesperson for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, yes, we are the resistance. Drop those weapons right here. Easiest fucking counterintelligence operation in history. We're going to tell the Americans where to drop them. We will tell them where the resistance. And anybody that fucking walks near them boxes is getting it. Those are IRGC weapons. We earned them, right? We got bombed. We earned those weapons. No joke. What do you guys think of that proposal?
Oh, Ted Cruz. Yeah. Well, I'm speechless, actually. It's just so dumb. The brain trust is all out there.
He needs to go to the Cancun and never come back.
Yeah.
Believe me, if he had a chance, that's exactly what he would do. He'd go to Cancun and never come back. Never. He'd be down there drinking pina coladas, wearing flip-flops. I mean, his name is Cruz, so he could get citizenship. That's not a problem. Although he's actually a Canadian. Let's just put
Maybe
that.
the Cruz needs to get stuck on a cruise.
Yeah.
It just Ted Cruz on a cruise. That'd be fun. Okay,
But it's
all
just
that
dumb.
dumb. So the point is, I guess this is Ted Cruz taking the lead on the U.S. Defense Department email that went out asking for clever and inventive ideas on what to do in Iran.
So he's been working on that line there for about a week or so.
He has. Yeah, he thought,
He's
this
been
is a
thinking
great.
about it all week.
Yeah,
I want to come up with a novel idea.
this is a great idea. Let's just give them guns, y'all. You know, America's full of them. Maybe every American can donate a rifle to a deserving Iranian. This is just, it's stupid shack. I'm sorry. It's open for business. Well, let's talk about the deal. And for me to talk about the deal, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my notepad and I'm going to flip back to yesterday. Apparently, the Iranians, they are starting.
Or the Omani deal?
What's that, Waja?
Makkah deal or Omani deal?
Yes. No. The deal, man. The deal of the Strait of Hormuz. Halas Mecca deal. That is an ittifaq. Okay? هذا ليس الاتفاق مكة. هذا ليس مهم. ليس مهمة. مهمة هي الستريت هرموز يفتح. Yeah? Right?
خلاص
والله
افتح يا هرموز.
إلى حلف الصف. Watch is coming to the back of the class. Back of the class.
I'm just triple checking.
He was talking about, we're going to talk about the Mecca deal here soon, but today we are talking about the Strait of Hormuz deal, the only deal that matters, right? Which is interesting because the MOU was the big deal except for nuclear and Strait of Hormuz. It handled economy, weapons, oil, sanctions, everything. Then he shit cans this. And now we're at one thing. All of this is about one thing.
Yep.
Getting ships through the Strait of Hormuz and nothing else. Nothing else. Right? Lebanon was involved before. Thank you, Sean. Lebanon was involved before. And now they're like, we're down to one thing. We can't think past one thing. The problem is for Trump, Iran's getting everything from the MOU for you to get this particular deal. So we're going to go over what the Iranian Foreign Ministry said. And now other news sources are confirming this is the deal Iran has put out there. And when it comes back, Trump is either going to have to accept it or not accept it. And if he doesn't accept it, we know how this cycle goes. It'll be 2 to 3 weeks before they get back to it. And of course, there probably will be bombing in between then. So the Iranian Foreign Ministry yesterday, I'm going to repeat. Somebody said yesterday, right? We were talking about acronyms, NATO, the MOU equals FYOU, right? We have Chile. We had, what was the other one? Burrito, right? But that's mainly Chile and burrito for Yemen. Yesterday, somebody said nacho, and it popped into my head. We're missing another one. Ocho. Okay.
Ocho.
It's Ocho. Ocho. I thought we were at Ocho. We may be at Ocho right now, right? One chance Hormuz opens.
One chance. One chance.
There's another T-shirt. One chance Hormuz opens. Halas, not 8. 1, right? One chance Hormuz opens.
We need Eminem to rap that.
What's that?
I said we need Eminem to make a rap about that.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah. Well, don't worry. Don't worry. Iranian Revolutionary Guard will have a Lego video out called The Acronyms. Right?
I feel like guacamole,
Guacamole, that's somebody's gonna have to work on that one. But There were some other good ones. I didn't write it down yesterday. So let me get back to me. One-time deal for you. What is that? YTDFO. That doesn't count. So anyway, Iran is proposing to close its northernmost traffic separation scheme route in exchange for closing the southern traffic separation scheme. And then they will choose a middle traffic separation scheme, which will be in Iranian waters, but which in the old days was called the traffic
Traffic
separation
separation
scheme,
scheme.
the original one.
The original.
I'm going to find that, right?
That's a wonderful compromise.
It's a
Oh, I'm going to.
wonderful compromise. Like anyone could do any more compromises. Like Iran is in the driver's seat, baby. Like I don't know how to explain this better than this. Iran is in the driver's seat. They control the escalation ladder. They have proven that America cannot even be in the Persian Gulf. America is all the way in the Omani Gulf. If they get any closer, Iran starts hitting the U.S. ships. U.S. destroyers are not even hanging out in there. The minesweepers are not even in the anywhere close to the Middle East. The European alliance has dispersed because they realize that they're not going to sweep the mine anytime soon. So everyone knows that Iran has shown capability of escalating not only at the Strait of Hormuz, but also at Bab al-Mandab and the Suez Canal, really showing the world that I can fuck you up. Fuck around, find out. Literally, the
Right.
definition.
FAFO.
Faithful. All right. I'm going to show you this chart. This comes from a guy by the name of Ryan Rosbiani. I like his stuff. Sometimes I have to reality check it, but he's an Iranian and he's relatively accurate on this particular chart, which is called the New Hormuz Plan. He is saying that the 7% proposal is not true. But here's what he does say that is in there. Ships first use separate the Iran and Omani corridors. They're saying there's not going to be a north and south corridor. No, there's going to be the original corridor. But no matter how you slice it, there has to be a northern one, there has to be a southern one, inbound, outbound traffic. And it was all within a 4-mile gap right up the middle of the Iranian and the Omani thing. So they are technically proposing going back to the original plan. Okay. It bans the passage of U.S. and Israeli and hostile state vessels, blocks all Israeli-linked cargo, military or civilian. I'm looking at you, United Arab Emirates, right? You ain't getting nothing. You're going to have to fly that shit in forever. It bars any ship or cargo tied to actions against the resistance front, which means all U.S. ships, all U.S. flags, all U.S. warships. Because don't forget, we're fighting against both Hezbollah, the Iraqis, and the Houthis. Denies passage to countries that harmed Iran. In other words, any country that attacked us. Looking at you, United Arab Emirates. Don't forget, somebody flew combat missions against Lavon Island. They're claiming Bahrain and Qatar did also. I don't believe that, though. I know the United Arab Emirates did. Somebody had a gray and white ass Mirage 2000 over Shiraz when the French was only flying Rafales. So there's only one country that has them, all right? And it begins with the letter U, and it ain't United States. So they're going to have to pay compensation, which I think UAE may already have paid $3 billion. So they may be off the hook. Penalties for 20% of the cargo value if you violate their rules and they catch you. All right? That's when they start charging. Ryan is saying that they are not charging a fee of 7 to 3%. Transit fees will not be a percentage of your cargo value. It will be a flat fee, which will cover insurance, refueling, and environmental protection. In other words,
Yes.
they're going back to that $2 million fee, which is the better plan. Trump proposed 20% of fees for the entire cargo. So this is apparently the draft that is under review by all the Gulf states, all the states, stakeholders here. That Iran, we are waiting to see if Iran agrees to it.
Yeah.
Which, as you
And
know,
just to add, there's already legislation being proposed in the Iranian parliament. Yes, Iran does have a parliament, that US and Israeli ships will be banned from transit.
oh, come on, we've been saying that since February 28th.
Yeah, but now
There's no
there's
way.
also legislation being passed in the Iranian parliament. So,
There's no way.
It's out in the open.
Somebody said they wanted to see that loop chart again. I think that this is the loop chart we all should be prepared for.
What, the cat?
It says, I wake up, the U.S. has defeated Iran for the 14th time this week. Wake up, go to sleep. Wake up, go to sleep. And as funny as that is, it is accurate. So we don't play any games here at Black Man Spa. We got to tell you the truth. The Trump administration is invested in crazy bullshit. Okay, let me go back to today's thing. Oh, another part of it, China is exempt from all fees because they have best customer status, right? So that's a good one.
Loyal customer status.
I like the way my notes say, see yesterday.
Loyal customer status.
Saudi Arabia has been announcing that they are prepared for a massive three-pronged attack by the following forces. By Yemen, Houthis are going to do a blitz missile and drone attack on Saudi Arabia at the same time that the Iraqi Hashid Shabi Popular Front militias, which are owned and operated and coordinated by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, both of them. So with the coordination of the somebody said China is member of the China Rewards Program. That's why they don't pay fees. They get points. And they got enough points for free transit. Okay, thank you. So they're saying that Iraqi's militias and Yemen's militias, the Houthis, are going to carry out a simultaneous massed attack on Saudi Arabia with the coordinated assistance of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' intelligence divisions, who will be giving them targets. Saudi Arabia put this out yesterday and said the attack is imminent. Imminent means right now, y'all. So I don't know whether they believe that. What do you think, Jacob?
Which prompted the 72-year-old leader of the Badr organization in Iraq to get up at 4 a.m. this morning, make a statement urging the Iraqi militias not to attack neighboring countries. Why did he do that? The Badr organization is, or at least used to be, and I think it still is, because this points to that fact, very much aligned with the religious leadership in Najaf, which is, which has schisms with Iran, etc., etc. So there is stuff going on internally in the Shia segment in Iraq. And it seems that Hada al-Amiri, who's the leader of the Badr organization, is trying to put the lid on this whole thing. Well, I doubt he can, but he's trying.
So here's the reality that the audience may not understand in Iran. United
Mhm.
States supplies the Iraq military with a lot of equipment every year. And the Trump administration has threatened to withhold the hundreds of millions of dollars if Iraq doesn't change the previous uh, s- um, prime minister or the previous president. I forgot what they call.
It'll be
So
the prime minister.
Prime
the
Minister.
prime minister.
The president is
So
Kurdish.
that's right. Now, what they ended up having to do is they had to bring someone that is Shi'i, but also could please Trump, so they can get that money. Now, the real uh, backing for the Shia in Iraq comes from Iran, but
Mhm.
they're smart enough to maneuver and put someone else with a cuter face at the front to please enough Trump to get whatever money that they were promised before, just to keep the operation going. So they're saving face with Trump, but in reality, the operation against the United States is ongoing.
Mhm. True. Well, I have to tell you something. We have to talk about first the battle forces. Battle forces are the oldest of the Iraqi militias. How
Yeah.
old? These guys predate the fall of Operation Iraqi Freedom. The Battle Forces was an IRGC backed militia of Iraqis that were
Mhm.
trained and organized in Iran to
Yep.
fight in the Iran Iraq War. Old school. And these guys are loyal to Shia Islam. But being old school, I think 1983, 1984 is when the battle
Mhm.
forces were started
Yep.
to align themselves as Iraqis against Shia Iraqis against Saddam. In case you wonder why, Saddam loved killing him some Shia Iraqis.
Yeah.
Okay. He couldn't trust a one of them. And so Iran used them after the fall of Saddam. The battle forces were really the major force that was fighting the U.S. by supplying explosively formed projectiles, landmines, and this EFP type landmine, which I remember the first time those were used. Murderous effect. I think they wiped out everybody in a vehicle in southern Iraq. And when we started finding them, we were like, whoa, these are Iranian built mines, not
Yeah.
healthy. And they, by the way, an EFP is an explosive that forms a concave copper dish. And when it explodes, that copper melts into a ball of
Mhm.
molten copper lava. And when it
Yeah.
hits your vehicle, it goes through like a blowtorch and it burns straight across, which is how most people lose both legs and their right arm. Usually, if you're sitting in the passenger seat of an EFP, and they were using very sophisticated lasers and fuses that would allow them to go off when it caught your bumper, and it would go through the passenger cabin by the
Mhm.
time it hit you. That was
But
a change in the war. The
but
battle forces did that. Go ahead.
but they only got involved against the coalition very late,
Very late.
because it was years where they were actually a stabilizing force. And that was why the Iranians organized the Mahdi army under Muqtada al-Sadr. And they were the ones in 2005, 2006, 2007 that were the real problem, not Badr. But that came later.
Yeah.
That came later. But
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
but
how
the United
these things
States
are.
still treats the battle forces like a major terrorist group.
Yeah,
And don't forget, it was the United States that took Saddam's Iranian terrorist group,
yeah,
right? That Saddam was training. What was their freaking name? And started
oh yeah,
using them as proxies in Iran and to infiltrate agents into Iran. And
yeah,
they were a straight up terrorist group. They did nothing in Iran but blow up shit, right? And
yeah.
we took over them. We were like, oh, yeah, they're our buddies now. So
Mujahideen
I'm sorry.
al-Khalq.
Mujahideen al-Khalq, MEK, right?
Yeah.
And they were led by a sort of a Fruit Loopy female lady. So anyway, yeah, the MEK became our proxy in Iran. So Badr is still on our hit list for these guys. But for you to tell me the Badr forces are now like, hey, everybody, chill out. Let's not go fucking attack Saudi Arabia. Wow. That tells you the old guys my age are now
Yeah.
intervening and trying to keep things calm in Iraq. Yes, Waja. Somebody says HMS. What is HMS? Hamas. It's Arabic. It's a trilateral verb. Fawaka. All right, to fuck. And then the bottom one is Hamas. How do you not know this? You children, worst Arabic students ever. That would actually, in standard technical transliteration strip, this would be fa ka fasaka. So it's fasaka. It's fucka in this particular one.
I received
Shakumaku
a
there.
phone call, so I missed the last 30 seconds of everything you guys
Somebody,
said.
we
But
were giving a trilateral verb if this were transliterated
oh,
Arabic script on a typewriter using standard Arabic technical transliteration script or SATs. All right. So somebody did FCKSOH, fuck the Strait of Hormuz. There's a t-shirt. So there's another t-shirt. Write it down. Okay. We were getting back to it. So the probability of the Iraqi Hashidshabi and the Houthis carrying out a simultaneously attack against Saudi Arabia, I personally think is just a threat to make sure that the Saudis wake up and smell the coffee and understand that maybe we should sort of simmer down in Yemen. Because the Houthis and the Iraqis, they're not going to attack air bases. They're going to attack oil fields this time. It's
Yep.
like, oh, we'll hit you right where it hurts. We'll destroy Yanbu, right? Everybody hit Yanbu. Aim at something, right? That would send the oil market crazy. Okay, in relation to that, I'm going to let Waja introduce this. Waja, tell us about, because the Saudis are running fucking scared right now. Tell us about the Mecca agreement that was signed yesterday, and I will bring up the pretty picture.
the Saudi Crown Prince, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Pakistani Prime Minister have signed a joint defense agreement in Mecca, stating that any armed attack against any one of the three states shall be regarded as an attack against all, very similar to the NATO alliance. But let me tell you why this is just a bunch of BS at the moment.
Exactly.
The
Bunch of BS, yeah.
I'm ready for it.
the reality is that we have seen many of these pacts signed by Saudi Arabia being done in the last 5 years in particular. And in this war, they've been trying to figure out exactly whatever alliance they can scramble to protect them. The issue here, it is only with Pakistan and it's only with Turkey. It did not involve the rest of the Gulf states and it did not involve the rest of the Arab states.
Right.
It's not a full Sunni alliance. And
Well,
I think it loses a lot of its weight. And Saudi Arabia has signed a similar agreement before with the Gulf states that attack on one is an attack on all, specifically regarding Iran. And when the Gulf states got hit, they did not react and just showed the
yes.
absolute reality of how weak these agreements are. Iran it attacked also Saudi Arabia, and it took Iran couple attacks on Saudi Arabia for a couple weeks, and Saudi Arabia begging Pakistan to be like, "Didn't we sign a protection agreement with you guys? Aren't you supposed to be here?" And it took Saudi Arabia to be like, "You still want my support or not? I thought we had an agreement." for Pakistan to be like, okay, I'm gonna send over a couple planes over and 1,000 troops. That's it. Like, we've seen it in the action before done, and it hasn't done shit.
Right. Well,
And
this is what I go ahead.
Saudi Arabia is also very suspicious of Erdogan and the Turks,
Mhm.
and they see them as aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood to a certain extent, and Hamas and stuff. So there's so much suspicion involved that these guys are never going to stick together, and so it's show off.
Yeah, I call this South Turk Pack, and which is a cool name for their version of what they think is the new triple alliance into this Saudi, Turkish, Pakistan, NATO. But it is the three largest, most powerful nations in the Sunni Islamic world. And here's why I think it's significant. Because one, it is a full scale mutual defense pact organization. It's essentially to be quite honest, it feels like Saudi Arabia is afraid of invasion. That the Iranians could come storming through Kuwait and start pounding them, and they would have this ability to fall. And it's significant that they signed it in Mecca, of course, because they want to show that it is a religious alignment with Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. But they are the three largest armies in the region. Well, they should have bought the Egyptians in, to tell you the truth. They should have bought the Egyptians in on that. But they are the largest armies in that region. And Saudi Arabia, if Iran were to get super crazy freaky, right, and the Houthis were to, I don't know, storm Najran in the south, which they have the ability to do it, by the way. The Houthis have the ability to come in there and make things very spicy for Saudi Arabia. This just shows me their weakness of their actual defense forces. And my favorite part of this, you can't be in the Abraham Accords if you've signed a mutual defense treaty with Turkey and Pakistan. Okay? Israel, there are Israeli ministers right now talking about Israel needs to preemptively attack Turkey.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. So it's like, who exactly are you defending from? Clearly, this is an alliance against Iran, right? Which ties Pakistan and Turkey into defending Saudi Arabia from Iran's more forceful attacks. I guess it would also trick them into having to bring ballistic missiles in and all the rest of these systems that they have there. Anti-ballistic missile air defense and things like that. But yes, go ahead, please.
What happens if you run out of THAAD and Patriot missiles? All of a sudden, you are forced to hire like the Turks to bring their own Patriot, to bring their own batteries and to bring their own defense missiles and have them operated instead of your own soldiers because you don't even know how to operate their own system. I mean, you don't even know how to operate the THAAD and Patriot missiles that you spend so much money on, that you had to bring all the Greeks to come and operate it. Now that you've run out of everything, it makes more sense to bring the Turks over and have them run their own system.
Yeah, it would make sense. However, Saudi Arabia does not have THAAD. Saudi Arabia has Patriot PAC-3, which is it's the advanced missile, Ukraine has been begging more of, but they don't have THAAD. The only THAADs in that region were operated by the United Arab Emirates and the United States. UAE didn't have THAAD. They had the THAAD radar, but the THAAD system was operated in Jordan by the United States in defense of Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't have nothing left of that. That's down to less than 100 some odd missiles. Another few weeks of Iranian ballistic attacks all over the place. Things could get very, very spicy, very, very. And the Iranians know it. And I understand that Trump had a big screaming match with what's his name, Whiskey Pete. Whiskey
Patricia
Pete
had
to
said,
go. Well,
Patricia.
Patricia, 2016. Okay. Oh, by the way, somebody has asked about the chat. I posted the chat, but when earlier I didn't press send. So it was actually sitting, waiting for me to post it. It's post questions here. It's up now. So go right ahead and post your questions. I answer questions here. My camera's in the way, so it's having a problem. I answer questions all day on that. When I'm like feeling bored, I just go down there at Tread. So I go down and I answer questions left and right. So feel free. Did it just do it again? It may not have done that again. I have to start a new thread. That's crazy. Anyway, so that's what's going on with Saudi Arabia. The Mecca agreement, the South Turk-Pac agreement has given them their version, a micro version of NATO. All right, Lebanon. Anything going on in Lebanon? I heard the Israelis lost 2 soldiers and are bombing the ever-living shit out of it.
I haven't checked.
Anybody?
Is it Tyre?
In that vicinity, down near Nebatia. They lost this is interesting, which tells me something interesting. They lost a battalion commander who was a major and the sergeant major to that battalion. And that tells me they weren't in a tank. They weren't in an armored personnel carrier. They were in an up armored Humvee or one of their Land Rovers. But hey, y'all, don't battalion and brigade command staff, don't go into Lebanon without something that can take an anti-tank missile, right?
No.
Borrow one of those armored personnel carriers you got there, or borrow a Merkava, something. Don't go down there and get wiped out, the 2 senior and the enlisted and the battalion commander in one vehicle. And now, of course, that led to the Israelis to say, yeehaw, fuck the law. We do not care about any deal within the United States. Now they are bombing Hezbollah positions around southern Lebanon. Nothing? Y'all got nothing to say about that? Come on, I need 10
what
seconds.
do you have to say? We have a child extremist running Israel at the moment, and we have a child president in the White House that doesn't know how to hold them accountable. The International Criminal Court has already said that he has broken international law, and he comes to the United States, and we just allow him to come here without taking him across. This is something I've been seeing across happening with
It's not
powerful
the
leaders.
only war criminal you host. You also host.
Yeah, I was about to say
so
Russia.
what the hell is new?
Listen, guys. You got to go with the war criminals you have, not the war criminals you wish you had. There's a T-shirt.
There's a T-shirt. Definitely another one. Definitely another one.
All right. Finally, before we go to questions, questions are up, by the way.
The big question is, when we see another surrender by Trump, the MOU was the first surrender. When we see the next surrender, the interesting thing also with relation to Lebanon is how much will Iran push it? Because they need to protect Hezbollah and can't be seen as backing off and just sorting out their own shit. And so how long will they take it if they get a good deal with Trump?
Don't know. I don't know. You mean
We'll
Iran?
See. I can't say.
I think Iran will behave this time. I mean, all Trump wants is one thing and one thing only. He wants the Strait of Hormuz to have the flow of oil so that he can say he saved the world from global recession, that he ended now, what is this, the 9th and 10th war? And that he got Iran, that America now operates the Strait of Hormuz, despite the fact that we all know no U.S. warships will ever be allowed in the Strait of Hormuz again. It'll just, if for the Iranians, that's a matter of principle. All right.
Yeah.
For the United States, we used to call this FON, F-O-N, freedom of navigation. We have been exercising freedom of navigation since 1805. Right? That's when U.S. warships started their war with the Bay of Tripoli over freedom of navigation and hostages. So, on the other hand, Iran is now saying you don't have freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf. It's our lake. It's our lake, the Iranian lake. And like Trump, you better call it the Persian Gulf. I'd change it to the Gulf of Persia.
No, he wanted to call it.
It's all
He
Biden's
wants to
fault.
call it the Gulf of Trump and the Strait of Baba Trump, and then the exit of Junior Trump. I don't know.
Wallahi, these people are so stupid. Okay, well, that's it for the Middle East news. Now, let's go to North Africa real quick. I have one last thing. Somebody says they were stationed in the Marine barracks in Iceland in 1980. Man, that place must have been nice back then. It's a tourist trap now, right? You go to Reykjavik, it's tiny, cute little cafes and little shops everywhere. And there's like troll gnomes and everything all over the place. There's lots of good restaurants. Back in the day, that must have been like a Icelandic village. You probably had guys with fucking, Iceland axes over their shoulder, right? Vikings and shit walking around on the street in 1980. And as a Marine, that must have been a pretty boring place to be. How many times can you go to the Blue Lagoon? All right. Let's talk about Ceuta in Spain again, or some people say Ceuta. It's Ceuta. It's right there in the letters, guy. But there are two reports that came out. One says Spanish intelligence, the former director of Spanish intelligence, came out swinging against the Sanchez government and the Moroccan government, saying that the government of Spain's intelligence agencies had intelligence that the Moroccan government and its intelligence agencies coordinated the information operation that got all these men out, including all of the trucks, buses, carpools, Ubers, everything that bought 60,000 boys. Right? Now, can I point something out to you? I said this very early on.
60,000.
That none of them were carrying backpacks. None of them, which means they didn't intend to stay.
No.
You weren't going to go there as like, oh, I'm in my swim trunks and flip-flops. You're going to give me everything I need. 60,000 men and boys all showed up at that border post at the exact same time, the week after the Spanish government had made the ruling that if you are swimming into Spanish waters, they have to process you as a refugee. Well, the former director of Spanish intelligence says it was an operation coordinated by Morocco in order to overwhelm Ceuta, in order to use it as a basis to take Ceuta back. Now, on the other hand, this is being seconded by, not that you can trust them, Chinese intelligence, the MSS, right? Ministry of State Security, is also saying that it was an operation that was carried out at the urging of the United States and Israel to punish Spain for not supporting the war with Iran. I did an entire show on this. If you guys haven't seen it, you can go back on Substack. We did an entire show with Dexter Ingram, whose family's from Morocco, about that. We didn't say who did it, but I made it clear. We did that emergency show because it was clearly an operation. You cannot get a mass concentration of 60,000 men in a few hours to hit that checkpoint. I've been through that checkpoint no less than 6 times with my truck when I was driving back and forth between Marrakesh and southern Spain. I could get down there. I could get over there. If I left at 6 a.m. from where I lived in Spain, I could be on a ferry and in Ceuta by lunch. and driving to Marrakesh by 6 in the evening, right, in time for, midnight drink or sunset drinks in Jama Finet. Somebody coordinated the hell out of this, and boom, 60,000 men appeared. Now, most of them have gone back, but they say there's as many as 15,000 people, 1,500 people. Oh, no, 15,000 still are there sleeping on the streets. And what happens now, magically appearing out of nowhere within 24 hours, that Republican right-wing dickwad, supposed citizen journalist Nick Shirley, arrives in Ceuta and is going around the streets talking to these guys about how they came there, how they were all going to get free stuff in Europe. And Trump, within hours, made statements that he's going to use this video and what the right wing was calling the invasion of Europe, which is a mean trick because Ceuta is in North Africa. So, that they were going to use this as part of the campaign effort in the United States, saying this is what liberals want against the United States. I've seen a lot of intelligence operations in my life. This one probably wasn't coordinated by the CIA, but it was definitely coordinated in the White House. That's my opinion. I'm starting to come off like fucking Sean Ryan now, right? With all these crazy-ass conspiracy theories. Except that this one is now being confirmed by 2 to 3 major intelligence agencies. And my dog, because anyone could see this as an operation. Yes, watch.
I definitely think that the Moroccan government is quite pissed off with the Spaniards government for how well they're getting the relationship with Tunisia. My sources have been telling me that this was an effort by the Moroccan king to show the Spaniards that they can overwhelm them and they can also overwhelm the economy of Spain whenever they want, and that they should pay a little bit more respect to the Moroccans. That's the contacts that I have gotten. But I'm not an intelligence officer. That's just the connection that I have.
You don't have to be. You just have to be a human that is sentient, awake, and knows where these two places are geographically. Doesn't take a spook, all right, to see that this shit's spooky. Right? You guys had to have read a Graham Greene or a Robert Ludlum novel or seen Born Identity #2, which is in Morocco, by the way.
Well, here's what there was a statement by the Spaniards here a second ago saying that they do think Morocco is behind it.
Yeah. Well, of course Spain would say that, right? Because where'd they come from? How did they get up there? Those dump trucks that they had 200 guys at a pop. And here's the Moroccan cops going this way to Ceuta, this way to Ceuta. And you know what? Have you guys, if you've been to Morocco, midday between noon and 5 p.m., there's 2 things you don't do. You don't ever get in the way of the gendarmes' lunch. Okay, for them to be up there waving guys over to Ceuta, not stopping trucks, not telling trucks to pull off to the side of the road for the regular traffic. Somebody told the gendarmes, do not get involved or don't get involved. Shit is happening. Let these guys go. And these guys were there dancing, clapping, singing. Nobody carried anything to stay in Spain.
And it's also when you look at who tries to exploit it politically, and I know that doesn't prove anything, but again, who's got the interest to really boost this. And in Europe, we have these Trump-aligned parties, etc., etc.
Yes.
And they are all boosting this and maxing out, and you see how it's really spun on the on social media. So that also tells you something about it, and just coincidentally, this thing of the Trump Russia relationship, Kirill Dmitriev, Putin's point man for relations to Trump and his entourage.
Yeah.
He's also, if you follow his account on X, it goes ballistic with all this stuff and how this is all Brussels and the liberal Europeans, etc., etc., etc. So, they're in on it. They're not just useful idiots, they could be just useful idiots, but I think they're more than that.
Well, I have to tell you, you guys know I wrote 4 books on Trump's relationship with Russia, and 3 directly about his relationship with Russia. Dmitriev is in all of them, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, all were New York Times top 10 bestsellers. Plot to Hack America, Plot to Destroy Democracy, which got the most, number 6 on the Times bestsellers list, and Plot to Betray America. And these are the Russians use migrant warfare all the time. They tried to flood the Finnish border last year, right?
Yeah.
They invited in all these sub-Saharan Africans, Afghan, and people from the Indian subcontinent and took them by bus, big jingly bus convoys, straight to the Finnish border in winter. Okay? And kick their asses out and push them across the Russian frontier, which, when it's minus 10 degrees Celsius, the only place you want to get is to the other side where there's warmth. And they were using that. They were taking them up the border fences and cutting the border fences. Belarus did this, right? For the Russians. They would come from Russia into Belarus. And by the way, anybody that didn't make it, they brought back and they put their ass into the Russian army and sent them to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So you had a choice. And they advertised for this. How would you like to come to Belarus? How would you like to go to Latvia and Estonia?
Yeah.
And they bring you up in caravans and Poland. And, and what they do, I've seen this in my entire life. When I was in Chad, one of the things I saw a guy, this is true, and it's many times guys I know who do overlanding. I do overlanding, which is where you drive your Land Rover Defender across like the Sahara or something. We've seen guys coming back from Germany. They lived in Germany or they lived in Italy, and they'll have a beat up, broke ass BMW 325, right, from 1977 and a diesel, and they will drive that fucking thing across the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
And take it back to Nigeria or Congo or wherever it is that they were. And when they get home, they're the big dog. They're like, I went to Germany. I got the BMW. There's no shipping it back, right, on a truck. You got to drive that shit back. And it excites the memory. That, FIFA soccer games, and I'm sorry to say it, Russian pornography. In my studies of Islamic extremism, BMW, soccer, porn. Those are the 3 things these guys view as what they want to go to Europe for. When I was in Libya and just after the revolution had started, we started seeing the first migration convoys come up from places like when I was in Benghazi, Kufra. And I'm like, where are all these brothers coming from? And they say, coming from Kufra. You didn't come from Kufra. You're off goddamn Central African Republic. Central African Republic? Chad? Kufra? Jufra? Kufra? Benghazi.
Yes.
Did you? Some of them did. They saw an avenue to Europe was opening. And then that's when hundreds of thousands of them hit Libya and started drowning by the tens of thousands because the same guys who created the lifeboats and life vests in Turkey for the Syrian refugees suddenly opened up shop in Libya with these fucking rickety ass Chinese 50, it would carry a rubber boat that was made for 10 or 15 people, and 100 people would get to it with instructions to you go from Misrata or you go from Benghazi. Misrata's the favorite place, or Tripoli. because at Tripoli, you try to get to Lampedusa, Sicily. Or Lampedusa is this tiny ass island off of Libya. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt from Lampedusa. It had a population of like 12, including the Italian Coast Guard base, right? Every once in a while, U.S. spooks would go down there. But it has, do you know it has a cemetery of over 1,000 bodies in it from people that drowned going there? It is now a permanent naval base. So because immigration warfare, human traffickers run by human trafficking gangs from Turkey, Russia, all over the place were down there. I'm making some money, players, right? Even if it's $5 per refugee, 20 people that show up at your port that morning is 100 US. And you know that there's 1,000 of them. So that's 5,000. And none of them have to get any money. All you got to do is say, oh, no boat today. You take their money and you walk away. And then you come back and say, there'll be another one in 3 days. People are horribly desperate.
Yeah. And people like Trump and Putin know full well that this is the best way to undermine the belief in democratic societies in Europe and break down liberal democracy. So that's what they try to really push.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much the end of the show today. Thanks, guys, for coming. Jacob, I know you probably have another podcast or interview you have to do. You're so popular in Denmark. You're the only expert there. Rasmus Jarlov can't do this stuff.
I was in the radio with Rasmus last week.
Oh, you were you?
Yeah.
Hey, tell him
this crazy Ukraine discussion I was telling you about. Rasmus was there too.
You guys are the only ones.
I actually have an interview coming up today with Dexter here in less than an hour, where we'll be investigating best ways to counter terrorism and analyzing the new Middle East. So if you have not put that on your calendar, make sure to put that on your calendar. And we still need more of you to become paid subscribers so I can apply for my U.S. citizenship.
Yep. Good. Hey, so last thing is people have asked me to put the link back for carsforukraine.com. Interestingly enough, the owner of carsforukraine.com reminded me that he and I made a video in 2004 for carsforukraine.com, where we were raising money for cars from Britain back then. And he goes, Malcolm, don't you remember the video we did? And I was like, yeah, I've got that on my phone. He goes, here it is. He sent it to me. I didn't like it. So anyway, you're never going to see that video. You'll have to raise a lot of money for that video to be out there. I just put up, this is the last push for carsforukraine.com for the second vehicle for Team Jedi. If you donate more than $100, they send you the special Summer Sunshine Black Man Spy patch, which the only way I could get it was to give them $300. I'm getting 3 patches because they are not made here. It has nothing to do with me. Car for Ukraine has them made in Ukraine, and they mail them to you after they've confirmed your donation. So if you want one of them cool-ass Black Man Spy patches, we have to make T-shirts or something out of that when their campaign is done. Please do that. Cars in Ukraine are valuable and consumable. So very, very hard to, big convoys of them get there. And a lot of them just get wiped out. I told you, my truck, which was the longest running truck 4 years in the International Legion, was finally destroyed a month ago. Poor daddy. Was finally destroyed. My battalion commander loved that car so much, he thought about stealing it. And they're not stealing it, but I purchased it privately, and it got in on a Ukrainian Legion or Ukrainian Army waiver. And he was like, well, it is your private purchase. And I was like, yeah, unfortunately, it says I donated it to the Ukrainian Army. There were people that just wanted to buy it straight up off the street. It was a Pajero 2-car, 2-door lifted adventure vehicle. So This is what they're getting. They're getting regular pickup trucks. They're fixing them up and they're giving them to the Ukrainian army. Not a Land Rover, Rick. Funny you should mention it. We went to try to get Land Rover WMIK, weapons mounted individual vehicles, and they were just, the drone war had started. We didn't want anything that didn't have a roof and couldn't move fast. So you won't see any Land Rovers over there that are still alive. They're too slow, too diesel. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate you coming to today's episode. Jacob, Wadges, see you all tomorrow. Boom.
See you tomorrow.
All right. And enjoy. We're going to go watch Wadges' interview with Dexter Ingram. Dexter's hilarious and funny and extremely well informed. All right. So take care. See you all later. Bye-bye.
Take care.